Hi guys, I have something exciting for you. Okay, so you can probably tell from the title of this video that I am giving you guys the template for my publishing plan. So I get asked all the time, like, how do you know, like, what are the stages, first of all, for your publishing plan? Like, there's, first drafts and outlines technically before that, and your editor and betas and self-edits. I don't know, you name it. There's so many stages. And I actually did do a video on this topic. By the way, it's kind of older, it's in the past, but you can go look it up and I will link it in the cards and below if you want to watch, because it's like very thorough. It's like 17 minutes long. It's my full publishing plan from start to finish, like outline all the way through the publishing date and everything in between. Literally, I covered all of it. So go watch that if you're curious. But this template is based on that. Like, I use all those steps, and what I did is I put it into a format, which I'll show you in a second here. And I did it so that you could fill in your own dates, but I'm going to show you how I fill it in. And the funniest part is, like, I've done this for my novels. Like, I will jot down all the, like the dates and like, this month I want to get this done, blah, blah, blah. But I did it kind of like chicken scratch. And now I have this beautiful template that I wish I'd used all the time, because I'm going to put it on my wall. It looks so good. And I can't wait to show you. So this video is going to be super short and quick. I'm basically just going to walk you through it. And then the way that you can get this is to sign up for my newsletter. And I'll be putting this on my members only page. So when you sign up for my newsletter, you get the password to the members only page on my website, which has a lot of other cool stuff too, but this is going to be the main thing that I'm excited about now. It'll have that members only section, also has like character interviews, and it has Penny's puppy pack for writers and a bunch of other stuff. But this, publishing plan template is, like, I wrote out a very, very, very detailed explanation of how I use it, and I kind of gave you like a rough idea of the time frame, so that when you go, and you can use it for like every novel, you can just reprint it out. When you go in, you can put all the dates, like from start to finish, and as you plot it out, it will lead you up to a projected release date. So anyway, I'm going to stop explaining it here, and I'm going to actually show you. I'm going to actually fill it out for one of my novels, and then I also do have a version for a series, like 3 books. And so anyway, I'm going to do all that, but just as a reminder, the way that you get this template is you sign up for my newsletter, and that will give you a password into the members only section on my website. So awesome. And if you're already signed up for my newsletter, which a lot of you are, then I'm just going to send out a newsletter today or tomorrow with the template included and a reminder of that password in case you forgot. So you will be able to get it no matter what. I'm going to make sure that you guys get it. And let's take a look at it and see what you guys think. Okay, so this is my publishing plan template. And basically, I'm just going to fill it out for you and kind of show you how I do it. So for the title of your work, if you have one, awesome. For me, I'm just going to put Princesses and Castles. This is the code name that I use to talk about my book on Instagram, because I don't have a name for it yet. And then you're going to have the stage that you're in, and in the other column, you're going to fill in the dates that you want. And this is a guideline. This is your roadmap. The idea is for you to feel like you have something to shoot for. It's flexible. If things change, that's fine. Until you actually, down here, announce your release date, this isn't permanent. Like, you can change this, but this is giving you something to shoot for. I think I said this on my website, but I'll say it again here because it's important. If you have a goal, you're much more likely to actually finish because you know what you're aiming for. So for the first draft, my first draft in my very first book took me quite a bit longer than it takes me now, and you need to be very realistic for how long it takes you. So what I like to do is get an idea of like the typical word count for a novel in your genre. So for example, sci-fi fantasy, I want to say 70,000 words is average, but like up to 90,000. I could be wrong on that. Please don't quote me. But anyway, I'm just going to pretend right now that for our first draft we want to do 70,000. And depending on how many words per day you want to write, if you are capable of writing 1,000 words per day, awesome. If you're capable of writing 1,500 per day, awesome. Whatever you do, figure out what your general daily word count is and divide the overall word count by that number, and you're going to find out how many days you need to fully do your first draft. And then really quick, I'll mention this. I go into detail again on my website, like very lengthy explanation on how I like to do this, but basically you're going to want to, I don't know, let's just do it here. So 70K divided by, see, I already wrecked it, 1,000 words a day equals 70 days, okay? So if you know that that's how much time you need, you could think that they're all consecutive, but really you want to plan out strategically. So I would take out a calendar, like actually use my phone or whatever and plot this out. And I would not count the dates where I know that I'm not going to be writing. For example, if I went on vacation, if there's a holiday or a family event, you name it. Or for me, I don't work on Sundays, so I never count Sundays as a writing day. And then I like to count Saturdays as my catch-up day. And you might write on the weekends and not during the week, so you need to pick what works for you. And so what you're going to do is take a calendar and you're going to write every single day that is an actual writing day. You're going to chart that through, and then I have an example of this on the website where I plotted out every single writing day, and it was October 1st through December 4th. To, if you write 1,500 words a day, 5 days a week, you could write a novel in that time frame. So for me, I want Princesses and Castles. It's basically done right now. I started it on June 25th. Normally, I procrastinate. So not normally I procrastinate. I do normally procrastinate, but normally I aim to write a novel in 2 months, but I've been procrastinating. So now my end date is actually going to be, I put the 15th, which is coming up. So that is the end date I gave myself because I know I am super, super close to the end. I just need to do it. Things have come up with Pearl's number. So I did not plot it out this way for this novel, but I want to for future novels. And then the next step is to take a break. So I know from the 15th, so September 16th, my break begins. And for me personally, I'm going to kind of do this a little differently. I say to generally do anywhere between 2 to 6 weeks. For me, I haven't really been super, super into this book, so I feel like I only need a 2-week break. But if you have been spending so much time on your first draft, I talk about something I like to call writer's blindness, where basically you're going to how do I say this? You're not going to see the errors that are super, super obvious. So this break is just to give your brain time to kind of forget the story. So however much time you need, you will know. And then the fast read through is what I like to do next. And again, I talk about all of these steps in my, my step-by-step publishing plan video, which I have linked below. So do take a look at that because I don't want to go super in detail on all these steps, which I'm trying to catch myself, or I'm going to do that anyway. But the fast read through, I try to give myself a week. So I put October 1st through October, I think I put the 6th, so I gave myself 6 days. And then I go straight into the developmental edits, so starting on the 7th. And I like to give myself roughly a month, but I kind of include the fast read through in that month. So this is like a month total from the 1st to the 31st. Again, this is just me. I need you guys to definitely just take this as a template, make it your own, pick dates that work for you. Definitely plot this entire thing out on a calendar so that you can see, oh gosh, I might have vacation in October, so actually this should go another week or something like that. And then the next step is requesting beta readers. So this stage, actually, I like to do roughly, around when I begin the second draft. So I know I have a full story. I kind of have in my head an idea of how long it'll take me. So I'm going to say, I want to request beta readers October 1st-ish. And that's just, again, this is my template. This is giving me a time frame.
So if that doesn't work out exactly, that's okay. But I like to ask about, let's see, I don't know, 1 to 2 months in advance. So that's what I like to do there. And then editing for betas, for me, often I will actually edit for betas as I send it out to them. So I'll edit a round of chapters or pages and send it out, and then I'll go and edit the next round and so on. So I often will write during here, but for this particular book, I actually want to use November NaNoWriMo. First, gosh, you guys, this is very messy. I apologize. Most of you will probably be more type A than me and make it pretty. But November 1st through 30th, so I'm going to use NaNoWriMo to edit because actually, side note, I'm releasing Pearl's number during November. So the first 2 weeks of November up till November 13th are going to be massively busy. I don't think I'll have time to write a full novel, but I do think I'll have time to edit for betas. And then actual beta reader process, I'm hoping to start this on December 1st. And because it's a shorter novel, my last beta processes have been really big books, like 100,000-ish words both times. So I needed about 5 weeks to do that. I broke that down into a 5-week process, but this time it's shorter. So I'm hoping, this is very hopeful, to fit it into 1 month, so 4 weeks. And then I'm going to put 1 week buffer because of the holidays, because honestly, I would never ever expect them to read over Christmas, or over New Year's. So honestly, I will leave that very flexible for them. Maybe they'll want to read it all up front. I'm going to have less betas, so maybe they'll want to do that. But if they don't want to and they need more time, I'm going to make room for that. So actually, when we get to the editing based on beta feedback, I'm going to guesstimate that I won't get it back for a little bit. So actually, January 8th, I'm going to give that extra week to even get it back. And then I typically want to have about a month for betas, so January 8th to February 8th. This is very loose. You might want to actually go plot it out on a calendar and give yourself even more specific time frame. I didn't even look at what dates these were, so if they're like a Sunday or something, then that's not accurate. But then the next step is editing for my editor. And I broke this down on my website, guys. The difference to me is this one is very developmental. It's very much big picture, whereas editing for my editor, I start to go into the line edits. I start to get way more picky. So I'm going in sentence by sentence here. And I gave myself about a week, I think. Yeah, 6 days. And that's basically I have been editing here. So again, this is it's really a month and a week that I'm giving myself to edit for the editor. But this one in particular, this week, is going to be really particular with the editor in mind. Then when I send it to my editor, my new editor has a 2 rounds process. So she does actually a first round, which I'll just put first round here, and I'm gonna split this box, and second round. So for her first round, she does 3 weeks. So let's see here. Where is my map? February 18th through, I think it was March 9th. And that's the first round. And then of course for me, it's a first round and a second round as well. So for my first round, I try to complete her edits within a week. So March 10th through 16th. And I send it right back to her. She gets another 3 weeks. And this was for the bigger book. So maybe she won't need as much time, but I'm trying to plot out more the generous time frame, because if she doesn't take that long, something else in here will. It's always better to give yourself buffer time than not enough. So for the second round, another 3 weeks. I'm gonna put, let's see here, starting March 16th when I send it to her through April 6th, and that's the second round. Then my second round, again, I wrote this in my website when I explained everything, but I typically don't need the full week. I really only need a couple days to complete edits because I'm excited, I'm ready to get it done, but I always give myself a week because, again, better to give yourself extra than not enough. So 7 through 13 is what I gave myself there. And then we come to the formatting section. I really only need 1 day because I've been, in my experience, I write in a template already, so I'm formatted. I just need to fix it up. I usually need to just tighten up a few things and prettify. So the formatting, though, if you're brand new to it, it could take you a bit longer. It's complicated. I have a whole video on that, which I'll link below, that I just did recently. But formatting is kind of a beast if you don't know what you're doing. So give yourself a few days to do that, or even a week. But for me, I just need one day at this point. So I'm going to use April 14th, right before tax day. And then ordering proofs. Now, CreateSpace is going away, sadly, so I don't know if this will stay the same, but right now, it takes me about 24 hours to submit a proof. I've figured out what they won't accept and what they will, so I don't usually have my proof rejected. They usually approve it, and then I can order a copy. So if it takes me, let's see, it takes me about 2 days to submit total for the 24 hours, so April 15 to 16, plus I'm gonna say 10 days shipping, because they say 7 to 10 days business days for shipping, but often CreateSpace is really, really fast. But I like to, again, go with the longer end of things in case it does take 10 days. You don't want to plan and then fail. You guys get the idea. And then for proofreading, proofreading is typically when it's arrived, I start immediately. So it'll arrive probably around April 26th. And I give myself typically a week for this, so May 3rd. That's just because it's another fast read through just like this. So I did a week up there. If that worked out, this should work fine. Oops, I'm really messing up this copy, sorry guys. And if you feel like it will take you longer, then that's fine, but really at this point you shouldn't be changing too much. You're just looking for errors, you're looking for formatting issues, and you're just final proofreading. And I like to actually have other people proofread too, so you might need more time for them. If they are not quick readers, you might want to make sure that they have a little extra time to proofread. Okay, and then this section right here, I'm gonna skip past this and come back to it because I want to talk about the buffer time or the last minute to-dos. I give myself, and this is from experience, a full month of buffer time, okay? Because I have run into issues in these stages and not had enough time, and it gets very stressful if you find that, shoot, I did not leave myself enough time for, you know, maybe you needed to do 3 proofs or something like that. Maybe the first 2 proofs didn't work out, so you actually had to add another 20 days because you had to go through the submission and 10 days shipping 2 more times. So that's going to add actually 24 more days, possibly. So this month of buffer time is really to ease your mind. I recommend it, but you don't have to. You can definitely skip this if you want, or you could actually cross it out and write something else in there if you wanted to and use that time frame. And so now this is awesome because the projected release date is so easy. You've written all this out. Your projected release date could be as soon as the next day. So June 4th, 2019, that's my projected release date. This is, I think it's a Tuesday. I'll have to look it up. I forget. But June 4th, I typically like to publish on a Tuesday just because that's, in the publishing world, a common day to release a book. And I think that there's a lot of studies behind that, but they also see a lot of releases throughout the week. I think Wednesday is the second best day. Thursday and Friday work, Monday works. I would recommend not doing Saturday and Sunday because just people aren't really online on the weekends so much. And same thing for holidays. I really would recommend avoiding holidays. And yeah, and I think that's it. But you know, I have a lot more detail on my website again, so I really encourage you guys to sign up for my newsletter so that you can read through this entire process. You can see my different calendar examples. And then let's really quick talk about this before I forget. So for the cover designer stage, my preference is to hire a cover designer somewhere around this stage, because I know that cover designers, they tend to be booked really far out in advance. And so you don't want to get to, you know, somewhere around here and then find out that your cover designer couldn't be available until, I don't know, say September because you waited too long. So if they're a good cover designer, they're going to probably have a wait list. So my preference for this is hire around second draft or second to third draft, and then hire them 4 to actually do the work around beta edits is what I'll say, because I feel like this stage right here, when you're editing based on beta feedback and editing for your editor, the story is a lot more it's a lot more nailed down, it's a lot more finalized, probably a lot has changed. And so you're gonna find that if you wait to actually create the cover with them and work with them until here, you'll be able to give them a lot more info on the story and what is actually the final story. So even closer to this round, because by the time you send to your editor, hopefully it'll be the best you can possibly make it at that point besides their changes. And you could even wait for here if you wanted to give yourself more time when you were okay pushing this date back, potentially your release date. So then hiring the editor. For this stage, again, same thing. They're going to have, if they're a good editor, they're probably going to have a wait list. So you don't want to hit this stage and not have anyone hired. So I typically will also hire an editor right around here. So I actually use my break to do these 2 steps. I take the break and I work on hiring the cover designer and the editor, and also on my synopsis and just planning in general. So for the editor, I like to use Readsy. Oops, sorry, my handwriting's horrible. But Readsy is a company. I can talk more about this in another video. This video is getting really long. They basically they connect and help authors and editors connect with each other. So you can reach out to many different editors and ask them for a sample edit on your work. You can get different quotes for how much they would charge for your book, and you can hire an editor based on that. And so at this point, again, I like to have a first draft so that I know what my actual word count is going to be. And you can write in your goal word count here, or you can write in your final word count up here if you like. And the editors typically will go based on word count. So hire from Readsy around also second or third draft, okay? Whoops. And typically I will ask them, I will have plotted this out and I will give them an idea of, hey, I expect to send this to you around, February 18th of 2019. And this is coming back in hiring them around October. So I'll say, hey, I want to hire you coming from October for February-ish. And then we can talk about deadlines with them. They may be booked out and not be able to start until March. And so then you would, of course, change your whole time frame here based around them. So again, this is really good to know. And let's see here. So hire them around the second or third draft, and then obviously use your outline here to figure out the date where you will need them. Synopsis and back blurb. By the way, none of these things in this section are nailed down. You can do these at any point. This is just my general when I prefer to do them. And so I'm going to be really quick because this video is getting really long. The synopsis or back blurb, I think it's really good to start figuring it out around this stage and get it really fleshed out for your beta readers, so that when you request beta readers, you can use a draft of it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but a draft of it to ask them to read, because you want to be able to give them something. So I would say first draft for requesting betas. But then working on the final draft, you need it for your cover design. So the cover designer is going to need it for the back of the book. Typically, if you are hiring them to, which we haven't even talked about the dates that they would do it, but around beta edits here, if, let's see, edit based on beta feedback. If they're actually completing the work within this time frame, and maybe let's just guesstimate that it takes them like a full 2 months versus some are really fast and could do it in 2 weeks. you might be getting your cover design somewhere around here, around the March, let's see, yeah, March, early March, or maybe even early April. Okay, so what I would say is if you expect, you're gonna have to go based on what they tell you, but if you expect to say get your final cover design somewhere around say the 16th, I would actually say, and it takes them say 2 weeks to edit, so March 1st they start, I would say go back a couple weeks and decide to give them your blurb final draft by give that to them or have it done a couple weeks before they will need it so that you have time to work on it and focus on it. But by the time you have your cover designer needs it is really the goal here. So I like to give myself buffer time, but if you're working on it right up till when your cover designer needs it, I did that last time, it happens. And then the cover reveal. A cover reveal can be done at any time. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I probably will change it every single time, but in my mind right now, I will both announce the release date and the cover reveal together and also announce the blurb, all three in a book trailer. And typically I like to do this right about 3 months before release. So if June 4th is the release date, then I will go back, May, April, March, let's say, somewhere around March 4th. And I'm just gonna put a question mark because I'm not looking at a calendar for this. And I think that's accurate. But that's a general time frame. All of this can change. This is probably the most flexible of anything on the list. This entire list here is just to give you a sense of a roadmap. So be flexible if things change, if you find that, especially if you find like with the first draft and all the editing, if it's your first book, this can take a lot longer just to figure out what works for you, what's your process. So give yourself some extra time for that, give yourself some grace. Feel free to just reprint this off and refill it out whenever you need to. This is for you guys just to encourage you, give you something to aim for, and give you an idea of when you can tell readers to expect your book. So that's everything. Thank you guys for sticking with me for this super long video. I thought it was gonna be short. I was crazy. My videos are never short. And I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. I hope this helps you. Again, just a reminder for how you can get it. Sign up for the newsletter. The newsletter gives you a password into my website for the members only section, and it will be there available to download along with other awesome things. And again, I will send out a newsletter today or tomorrow for those of you already signed up with the password. So I'll talk to you guys again soon. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this publishing plan. Oh, and one more thing, I almost forgot. I also have a publishing plan for a series, book 1, book 2, up to book 3. So if you have a series and you want to kind of roadmap the whole thing and see how they all relate to each other, which I do and did right here, then you can. And this is very scribbly, so I'm gonna make a much prettier version for myself, but you get the idea. I'm gonna put these on my website for you guys so you can see my process and my plan, but make it your own. Enjoy doing this, and I would love it if you would tag me if you decide to use this so I can see how it works for you. Okay guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.